Like, in my opinion, he's probably the most badass Iron Fist that has taken up the mantle of the Iron Fist. And the reason why I say that is because bro is fighting with metal pieces of his blade literally stuck in his forearms. What is up, y'all, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. And first off, I just want to say thank you for everybody that has been subscribing. We've been receiving some very generous donations for winning very insanely crazy games with crazy combat. I believe William and Brandon are some of those people that have been, you know, dropping some subs and some donos while Neko was streaming. And more, we keep getting more viewers. We've had like about 200 concurrent viewers at a time in some of the streams, and you guys are finding out a little bit about us. And some of you have even found out that I used to do a lot of martial arts back in my youth. I say back in my youth because it was from like middle school all the way up to like when I was in college. So yeah, about 20 years of my life I dedicated to martial arts. And why this is relevant, or rather why I wanted to make this video, was because we have had people come up to the streams and say, oh, my family, my mom, my dad, my siblings keep telling me that I am fat and that I need to go and do some exercise. And they ask us, what should I do? And what we end up telling them is that although the way that they may be portraying the message to you might not be in a way that you might appreciate it or that you might not like it, what they're trying to tell you is to try to maybe live a little bit of a healthier lifestyle. And one of the activities that I always recommend to people is, if you don't like exercising or you think exercising is boring, which that was literally my mindset when I was a kid. I don't like just going to the gym and lifting weights or running for the sake of running for endless miles or endless minutes on a treadmill, because I don't feel like I'm learning anything. I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of it other than just like fitness. Learn martial arts, pick up martial arts if you have the ability to, of course. I do understand that doing martial arts is a little bit of a privileged sport. A lot of the times, depending on which style you do as well, ends up being a little bit pricey. Like my background is I have a second degree in Taekwondo and Hapkido, basically like Korean martial arts under the system of WTF, which is the World Taekwondo Federation, where I'm mostly used to, as a black belt, compete at an international level in sparring, full contact sparring. Obviously a little bit different from like UFC rules and stuff, but it is full contact. It's with full gear on, with electronic scoring system. Eventually I was actually part of the earlier generation of Taekwondo athletes before there was electronic scoring system, which it was basically like by clickers, and when we used to hit hard, and it wasn't just about like the safety of the athlete, it was about actual like fighting and hitting each other hard, and you know, that's how you would score points and stuff. I don't agree too much with the direction that Taekwondo has taken nowadays, but that's always why I always cross-trained with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I have a blue belt in Higa Machado system, or Riga Machado system. I don't know. I can never remember how to pronounce that. And Carlson Gracie style, which means that basically I have 2 years of experience in Carlson Gracie style Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then 2 years of like gi in Higa Machado blue belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience. But I also have additional years of doing no gi in mixed martial arts, and cross training between Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, and I never stuck to my one style. I was always very interested in mixed martial arts, basically, to come back full circle. So, you know, I have a lot of mixed martial arts experience, if I were to put that in a nutshell. I've been an instructor also. I've traveled the world fighting. I was ranked number 13 in the United States in Taekwondo full contact sparring at some point, and then I eventually made the national team for Puerto Rico in Taekwondo. And man, those Olympic team trials were like, they were brutal. Like I was fighting from like 8 a.m. to like 12 a.m. the next day, because it was like Brazilian repechage, so basically double elimination. And by the way, the reason why I am talking about this is because I love playing Iron Fist. Like, Iron Fist is one of my favorite characters, especially the new Lin Lie Iron Fist. Like, he's such a different Iron Fist compared to the previous Iron Fist. And the reason why I like Lin Lie is because he's the one Iron Fist that's like, yeah, I'm an Iron Fist, but I'm gonna be the best Iron Fist there ever was. You know, he skips a little bit of that humility, and but he does get humbled in the sense of like in my opinion, he's probably the most badass Iron Fist that has taken up the mantle of the Iron Fist. And the reason why I say that is because before he was the Iron Fist, he was known as the Sword Master. But in the process of him trying to save his friend, his close friend, from being killed in one of the comics as a Sword Master, his blade, which basically holds back, like, from what I remember when I read the comics, I even read the comics, his blade is an heirloom that got passed down from generation to generation, right? And his blade holds back this locked demon, right? And when he was saving his friend, his blade got shattered. And in the process of that, parts of the pieces of his blade, which is like a massive blade, by the way, it's bigger than his own body in length, at least. The pieces of the blade imbued themselves into his forearms, which essentially disrupts and throws his chi off balance when he later on becomes the Iron Fist, because it's a spiritual blade. It's a blade made out of pieces of soul and all this other stuff that's attached to his lineage. And the reason why he wears the fist wrap that he does in his original skin in Marvel Rivals is because bro is fighting with metal pieces of his blade literally stuck in his forearms, which obviously causes him great pain, but also because he has the spirit of Shu Lao inside of him, meaning the dragon that he gets his powers from, or that all the Iron Fists get their power from. He has this balance of chi from his sword and the dragon spirit kind of clashing within him. So he can't fully unleash his power as the Iron Fist until he's able to master how to basically balance out both of those spiritual energies fighting within him. So he's basically known as the Iron Fist with broken hands. Can you imagine the contrast of that? You're the Iron Fist, but you have broken hands because you can't fight, because you have all these metal shards in your hands and your forearms stuck to you, so it hurts you to fight. And I think that was cool because he travels the world learning other martial arts to help him not have to fight with his fists as much. So one of his masters that he's really good friends with is a Korean Taekwondo prodigy, and I found that part of his story very cool, as somebody who is, you know, a second degree black belt in Taekwondo and Hapkido. Both are Korean martial arts. So what's cool about the way that Iron Fist fights and how he has that Jeet Kune Do fighting stance is that he trained with Chang-Chi, right? Who is obviously a Kung Fu and martial arts master in general. But Ling Lie, the Iron Fist that we use in Marvel Rivals, was actually trained in Taekwondo by the Taekwondo prodigy known as Taehyun, or I believe that's how it's pronounced. I know Neko is gonna chew me out later because she's Korean, Japanese, and she's gonna be like, you said that wrong. But I have to do my best to pronounce that. Either is it Taehyun or Taehyun. And the cool thing about the fact that Iron Fist learned Taekwondo from this Taekwondo prodigy, right, in his journey, is that because he had his broken hands with all the metal shards like stabbed into him, he had to learn how to fight with his feet or with his kicks. And then thanks to Chang-Chi, he was able to develop more of a Jeet Kune Do fighting stance, right, or fighting style, which essentially that's what Jeet Kune Do is. It's taking the strongest kicks from like a majority of different martial arts and mixing it with Kung Fu, especially Taekwondo fighting kicks. I believe even Bruce Lee mentioned something about how he tried to perfect Taekwondo's like strongest kick, which is uncontestedly the side kick that he loves to use. So I thought that was cool. And the reason why I'm talking about this and I'm bringing this up and why I tell people that martial arts is a good activity for you to lose weight, because not only do you learn how to defend yourself, you gain confidence, and eventually, like, unfortunately, the way that you end up having to defend yourself sometimes is by understanding when to avoid situations, right? Unless you're given the last resort, which is to control violence with violence. And I'm talking about this because I had a conversation with a friend who was having a lot of confidence issues back in the day, and I stopped being friends with this guy too, by the way, because like I kind of got fed up with being friends with such soy boys and people who had excuses for everything. He asked me the exact same questions, like, what do you think I should do to get fit, healthy, active, and gain confidence? And he knew full well that I was a martial artist, and of course I told him, I was like, listen dude, if you want to learn, if you want to gain a lot of confidence and you want to feel very confident in yourself as a man, and you know, you want to be able to have confidence talking to girls and stuff, which what he was struggling with, I told him I highly recommend that you do martial arts. I'll even go and do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with you so that you have a partner, because part of the reason why people get turned off from doing martial arts or doing stuff like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is because you have to interact with other people, especially very close and personal. And he just kept giving me like these really dumb excuses, despite the fact that I try to explain things to him. Like his biggest excuse was like, oh, I don't want to do martial arts because I'm afraid of what I've become. I'm afraid that I will become a very violent person. I'm afraid that I I won't have the ability to not be violent. And I'm just like, I'm looking at him like, and I tell him, but that's the thing. When you're learning martial arts, a huge part of the reason why a lot of people, or why a lot of parents used to bring me their kids to train them, was because they had no self-control. And there's nothing more dangerous than a person who is impulsive and has no self-control or emotional self-control. And ultimately what the martial arts are about, it's about bettering yourself as a person and being able to defend those who can't defend themselves if the time ever does come. And you guys might obviously say, oh yeah, but like you can always use a gun. It's like, yeah, but you know, like not everybody owns a gun. Not a lot of people believe in guns too. And it's also like a physical thing. When you do, when you go to the gun range, you're not really doing too much physical stuff as you would be when you're doing like hand-to-hand combat. And the fact that you do hand-to-hand combat, it also has to do with like, can I overpower this other human being, which obviously builds up your confidence. Now, if you decide to go be an egotistical a-hole down the line and be like, yeah, I'm better than you because I know how to fight and kick your ass, that's a completely different story. At that point, yeah, you still have no self-control and you're a shit human being and a terrible martial artist. You should never be allowed to compete or do anything as a martial artist if you cannot get that out of your head. But the primary reason that martial arts was invented was to be able to defend yourself, to be able to handle violence when you have no other choice and you're confronted with violence. Yes, so that doesn't mean that just because you go and you do martial arts, you're gonna go out there and like start fighting a bunch of people. That's a you problem. That you just need psychology at that point. But the martial arts will teach you how to behave yourself, establish some discipline in your life. They will teach you about honor, and along with all that comes the fitness and the growth of confidence, how to talk to people, how to communicate with people, how to look at them in the eye when you're having a conversation with them. And believe it or not, when you're talking to people, a lot of people do end up appreciating little things like that. Even if they don't mention it, they just feel calm around you. They feel like they could trust you. But yeah, on top of those excuses, just kept giving me a bunch of other excuses. And I was just like, man, at this point, all you want to do is just sit here and complain and not do anything about it. And you can do whatever you want, bro. And it was very sad to see because they were getting taken advantage of by certain people and they couldn't see it. And I try to be that one truthful friend with them. I try to help him out through it, but it didn't work. Very intelligent human being too. He was just okay living life, feeling sorry for himself and allowing himself to be surrounded by people who cater to that mediocrity mindset of just conforming, which I can understand why they might have thought that me and Neko were toxic, because when you're somebody who just likes to wallow in self-pity, you know, like they say that misery loves company. We're not like that. We're always the type of people that like to go the extra mile to overachieve. And even if we accomplish our goal, we have a new goal that we want to set up, and we're just like constantly trying to, you know, level up, you know, like a video game. You level up all the time. You want to get higher gear. You want to be able to do higher missions, you know. It's not that different from real life. So we just stopped hanging out. Really no longer friends with them. I wish them good luck. But to summarize on my main point as to like what I would recommend to anybody that wants to do some fitness activity is, dude, nothing better than martial arts. Martial arts, it's almost like a religion. It's not really a cult. Unless you're in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. No, I'm kidding. Dudes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like a cult. Very jockish, and I say that as somebody who has always been an athlete. But I mean, like, I knew how to hang with like the jocks and stuff too, you know. I knew when to cater to like that mentality, and I knew when to like chill out. But but definitely, if you do martial arts, any martial arts dojo that you go to, or dojang, or training gym that you go to, they will always tell you that martial arts is a way of life. It is a way of life, and it's a way of life for a reason. It's a journey that takes you to like kind of look within yourself and see how far you can push yourself, you know, see if you can accomplish things that you've never been capable or thought that you were capable of doing. And it is always my first recommendation above any other sport. I say that as somebody who played like up to collegiate freshman level of baseball. Martial arts. I cross-trained in martial arts for baseball. You know, I think that could technically make me count as a polyathlete, right? Doing baseball, taekwondo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, martial arts, MMA, whatever. And I would do activities like rock climbing and stuff. But I love rock climbing. Rock climbing is awesome to build core strength, dude. If you have the ability to go and learn martial arts, go ahead and do it. And if somebody's telling you that you're fat and unhealthy, and then you're family member, or they're telling you go exercise, you know, you might want to take a step back and not think with your emotions, and you just kind of listen to them. And something that's very easy and cheap to do is just walk 7,000 steps a day, eat a little bit healthier, you know. If you're hungry in the middle of the night, instead of eating a candy bar, eat a granola bar. There's very simple things that you can do. More than anything, it's a good thing to always watch your weight because you don't want any health complications in the future when you're older. And medical bills are hella expensive. If you're an adult, you understand. So the best thing that you can do that's for the free a majority of the time is stay healthy, eat healthy, do a little bit of cardio. But if you have that ability to, do martial arts. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you want to see more of these videos. And I will catch you on the streams or in the lobbies with Cheaper Town Hall. Peace out, guys. See you in the next one.
Struck down by living cheaters.